All right. So let's start. This is going to be our 12th lecture today. Uh, have you guys seen the past lectures? 11 lectures, sir? Yes, no, बाकी है, नहीं देखा, anything? Hello.
Actually, missed the last line that you said.
Past
Did not.
lectures देखे? I mean, total 11 lectures हुए हैं in the recording. So have you guys seen the recordings?
तो आपने जो लास्ट लेक्चर भेजा था, like the one which is 2 days back, वो नहीं देखा है.
और उसके पहले के?
के पहले एक्चुअली जो लास्ट लेक्चर जो देखा था वो कलर थियोरी वाला ही था. लेक्चर 7 was the last that I saw or attended.
Okay, तो मतलब बहुत बाकी है. और नितिन आपका?
बहुत सारा बाकी है.
नितिन आपका?
ये सर देखे सर.
सारे देख लिए?
हाँ अभी सर जो रिसेंट का एक था वो मिस आउट है, बाकी उससे पहले तो देखे.
ओके, ठीक है, चलेगा. So let me share my screen. I will quickly go through the grid system. अच्छा, have you guys, हमने navigation किया था, right? We saw the navigation, correct? Different types of navigation. Yes, something.
So are you talking to me?
Yeah, I mean I'm talking to you guys only on the call.
Okay. So navigation वाला part भी मेरा missed out ही है.
Hey, I'm asking, have we covered it or not? If you guys remember. I think वो one of the recording में cover तो हुआ है. ठीक है, we'll cover it again. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. ठीक है. Swati, please mute yourself. There's a lot of background noise. Thank you. हाँ, so याद आ रहा है ये?
हाँ.
So I think we actually did the navigation. फिर हमने ये भी define किया था सारा, right? ठीक है, we'll go through it again. No worries. So to start with, when we have like a very corporate website, correct, where it is about a particular company. So what is the navigation for that? So ideally, you have some basic navigation like about us, their services. Then we have blog, we have careers, we have contact us, we have team, etc. Correct? So here we did for Ruchiram only. So Ruchiram के लिए क्या होता है? So basically about us, which is about Ruchiram, what all courses do they have? Alumni, जो भी past students है वो, faculty, blog, career and contact us. Correct? So a very ideal navigation where we don't have more than 7 to 9 call to actions in the main navigation, right? And of course, इसके अलावा अगर there is anything, we try to club that, correct? So for example, if I want to show say resources, if I want to show downloads, so that can go under blog. मतलब blog का I can make a title called as resource and उसके अंदर I can have downloads, resource, blog, etc. वैसा, right? So for a very typical kind of a website, this is the ideal navigation where we have the logo always on the left. People have these options of keeping the logo in the center, etc. But a human eye is tend to look at the left side first. So that's why we always have the logo on the left because we start from left to right. Unlike Saudi guys where they start from right to left, right? So that is one thing. Coming to the second navigation part, which is for an e-commerce website. So now in an e-commerce website, the first behavior of any user is to search, correct? Even though there is categories, subcategories, and a plethora of categories, users don't really navigate through categories, correct? Even you guys must be aware of about that behavior. कि आप भी अगर कोई e-commerce पे जाते हो, you come up with a fixed mindset कि मुझे यही लेना है. Only then you come to the website in the first place. So you directly search, right, and then you get the search result page. So the navigation of the e-commerce should be very minimal. So we have the logo, of course, again on the left. We have a prominent big search box. Then we have only the basic category here. इसको click करने पे I can have multiple categories and everything. ठीक है? Yeah. But then I have the main priority actions, which is wish list, cart, and this is one option of my account. This is like the minimal option. कि आपको यूजर का आइकन दिखता है and you have this as my account, correct? The other option that we have is wish list, cart, login and sign up, correct? And then lastly we have one more option कि once a user is logged in, correct, then we see my account instead of login and sign up, correct? That is how it works, where we have at least couple of categories. We have the main action, which is the wish list cart, and then login, sign up, or my account, correct? So this is for the e-commerce website desktop version. Any questions, any concerns?
Nothing so far.
Nitin? Okay, just give me a second, guys. All right. So this was for the desktop version. Now coming to the mobile version. So mobile has two sort of navigation. One is for mobile website. So for example, if you go to Google Chrome and you open up a website, that opens up a responsive mobile website overall, correct? And then you have a mobile app, correct? So let's first see the responsive. So for the same, this navigation of e-commerce, correct? Or for a normal corporate website, what we have on the top, this is for the normal e-commerce website. So what happens is, we only have one call to action on the top. We again have the logo on the left, and then we have this hamburger menu. Okay, it looks like a hamburger because it has three lines and all. So we have a hamburger menu, and when someone taps on this hamburger menu, we get the list of menu items that was there in the desktop. The same thing, correct? Since contact us is already out, we don't repeat that inside. And the hamburger menu becomes cross. So you know that you have to close this, correct? So this is how it works in a responsive website. What is responsive website? That it adapts to different devices. It adapts to a TV, it adapts to a laptop, desktop, it also adapts to mobile phone, iPad, everything. So when it comes to mobile, of course, the space is very less. So we have to accommodate the main header. So how do we do it? We hide it under a hamburger menu. Okay? This is the hamburger menu. Similarly, for the e-commerce, here again, we have the same thing. We have converted these to icons so that it's easily visible to the users, and we have a prominent search on the header, right? Here also we can still have these category का hamburger, but of course उसका use कम है. You can either ignore it or you can place it somewhere here as well. That's fine. It's only for the sake of it, but no one is going to really use it. Correct? So this is about the responsive navigation. Now coming to the mobile app. If you know, in the mobile app we have the bottom navigation. Correct? Because it is of course easily available in the thumb area. So to make the experience of a mobile app very good and intuitive, we always try to keep the important call to actions, important links in the thumb area, right? The ones that we want to make it difficult, for example, closing the button, closing the page, going back, all of that is on the top, because we don't want users to by mistake click or purposely, just click, okay, up chale jao. We don't want to give that option very readily to them. So for that purpose, it's always on the top. It can be on the left, it can be on the right, depending on the situation. But the main call to action should be on the bottom. And here, this navigation is only for the parent screens. Now, when I say parent screen, what does that mean? So we design the wireframes for e-commerce, correct? So there, if you realize, the bottom nav has, the main call to actions like home, category, search, cart, etc. But when you go into a search listing page, you will see that the bottom navigation is not there because it's a child page. If you go to a product detail page, you will again see that there is no bottom navigation, right? Let me share one example with you. Let me join from my phone as well, and I will share that example. Let me stop sharing here and let me join from my phone as well. So, screen. Yes. Yes. So if you see, we have Amazon here, correct? Again, we have the main call to action on the top, the search on the top. Now, if I search something, say for example, laptop, okay, here, then if I go here, okay. So for a change, this app does not work that way, because here the problem can be if I go to you, correct, and then here again, by mistakenly also, instead of going back, I can tap here and I can go to some other app, correct? So what we'll do is we'll have so here if you see, the moment I clicked on search, the bottom navigation went away, correct? So I'll go to shorts, for example. Now if you see, there is no bottom navigation, but there is a back on the top, correct? And if I go to product detail, again the bottom fixed item is different. So then if I have to go back, I have to navigate it to this way only, where I landed from, and then I have different options, correct? So the idea is that you have these main call to actions at the bottom, correct? And then the moment you enter a child screen, the bottom navigation goes away. But if you are on this main screens, so these 5 items that I see are my main parent screens. The moment I tap inside, the bottom navigation goes away. Now this is called as a Moodle concept, where you go to a particular Moodle, right? And then you navigate, you complete that journey, correct? So that is called as a Moodle concept. So that is only for the mobile app, not for the responsive. Okay, it's not for responsive. Okay. Is it clear? Any doubts, questions, queries?
No, sir.
Swati?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now let's move to the next step. So I think wireframes we have already discussed, right? Let's move to the grid system. Okay. Let me again share my screen. Let me find it. So many files. Grid. Grid. Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay. Now grid is a very important part of UI design. Okay. Now what happens is you will notice that the websites have a particular pattern. Let me share my entire screen. Okay. So for example, I go to Rebel. You see that there is some space left on the left and the right, correct? Then let's open, what was the name? So if you see here also, you will notice there is space on the left and the right here, correct? This also has space, and the same thing is with this section also, correct? So now why is it so, correct? That it is not using end-to-end space, though the header is, right? Though the header is end-to-end, but still the content is in the center. It is not center aligned, but the content is starting from a particular place and ending at a particular place for all the sections. Now this area, correct, the starting point and the end point is called as a container. Okay, it's called as a container way. So when we start designing a website or a mobile app, सबकी grid अलग होती है. Here we are talking about a website. So when we start designing a website, the first thing that we have to do is finalize the grid system. Okay. उसके लिए सबसे पहले we need a container. So for example, if I am using my artboard size of 1920, okay, in the width. So ideally I'll keep 1600 as my grid. Okay, as my container, sorry. So what I'll do is I'll take a rectangle here. I'll say 12 and 1600 and I'll make it center. I'll take the ruler. So it's already there. So I'll take the ruler and I'll mark it and then I'll get rid of this. So now I have the container of 1600 for the desktop of 1920. Okay. Now, whatever content that I add, for example, this here example, right, should be inside this grid. Inside this container. Okay. Now comes a very common question. What should be the size of this? What should be the size of this content? What should be the size of this image? Same here also. So to answer that, we have the grids. We have the grid, which is divided into 12 columns. Now, tell me if I have to divide 1600 in 12 columns, correct? What should be my individual column size, right? So let's do this. 1600 divided by 12. So it comes out to be 133.33. Okay. Now let's take another box. We'll do it 133.33. Okay. We got this box here. हमने उसको align कर दिया. I'm just explaining you the concept right now. This is how not how you build a grid. ठीक है. Then उसके बाद में और second. So ऐसे करके दो हो गए. I have to replicate it more 6 times. I'll have it here. 8, 12. Correct? So if you see, my 1600 ka container is now divided into 12 columns. Lekin, if you notice here, there is space in between. Correct? Here, there is space. This is called as padding. There is padding outside the box and there is margin inside the box. Okay? Now what we'll have to do is, there is option in Figma to add a grid जो हमने यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी बना के रखी है. ठीक है. What we'll do is, we'll get rid of. ठीक है, इसको रखते हैं थोड़े टाइम के लिए. Yes. Now if you see, I have created this grid. Now let's create this from scratch. I'll add a layout grid. Right now it is a grid of 10 pixel. 10 pixel के boxes है. यहाँ से हमको क्या करना है? We need columns. As I said, we need to divide it into 12 columns. ठीक है. लेकिन ये स्ट्रेच हो रहा है एंड टू एंड बिकॉज यहाँ पर हमने स्ट्रेच दिया है. दैट वी नीड टू ब्रिंग इन द सेंटर. अब वो सेंटर में ले तो लिया बट द स्पेस इज ऑफ. सो हियर व्हाट विल डू इज, विल डिवाइड दिस इनटू, गटर को मैं टाइम बिंग 0 कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है. 0. So my grid was 133.33 the width. So now if you see, my entire width of the column is 133 जो हमने डिसाइड किया था. एंड इफ यू सी परफेक्टली इन बॉक्सेस के साथ अलाइन हो गया है. नाउ व्हाट वी नीड टू डू इज, वी नीड टू लीव अ स्पेस ऑफ 15 स्पेस एज गटर. ठीक है. तो होगा क्या, 15 ऑन द लेफ्ट एंड 15 ऑन द राइट दोनों छूट जाएंगे. दैट इज नथिंग बट 30 पिक्सल्स from a particular width. So 133 minus 30 comes out to be 103. Now if you see, this is my ideal container, but still यहाँ पर अभी कुछ गड़बड़ है. Just give me a second. Oh sorry, 30 आएगा gutter because 15 on the left, 15 on the right. That leaves out to be 30 pixels, correct? So gutter I have to add 30 pixels. So now if you see, every grid is of the same size जो हमने बॉक्स बनाए थे. 15 लेफ्ट में छोड़ दिया, 15 राइट में छोड़ दिया. करेक्ट. सो दिस वाज जस्ट टू एक्सप्लेन यू गाइस. सो आइडियली यू हैव 12 कॉलम्स इन अ ग्रिड. एक कॉलम का विड्थ minus 30 pixel is your width of the grid. So a simple formula here, finalize the container width, finalize the gutter space, and your individual column width would be container size divided by 12 minus the gutter space. जैसे ये दूसरा एग्जांपल है. यहाँ हमने जो हमारा आर्टबोर्ड का साइज है वो लिया है 1440. ठीक है. 1440. तो 1440 के लिए द ग्रिड दैट वी आर टेकिंग इज 1140. अब ये जो ग्रिड के साइजेस है ये कुछ आइडियल साइजेस है, ठीक है, जो हम डिजाइन में यूज करते हैं. जैसे अगर 1920 का है सो वी यूज 1600. अगर छोटा है 1600 से इट इज 1440 या 1280 1367, करेक्ट, 1366. सो उसके लिए वी यूज 1140 और 1200. दोनों में से आप कोई भी यूज कर सकते हो. तो सिंपल फॉर्मूला है 1200 डिवाइड बाय 12 माइनस 30. गटर स्पेस रिमेन्स द सेम, वो चेंज नहीं होता है. द कंटेनर साइज चेंजेस एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट एवरीथिंग चेंजेस. एनी डाउट, एनी क्वेश्चंस? आई एम श्योर यहाँ तो कुछ होगा. एनीवन? नितिन, स्वाति?
So how do we decide the page size?
ठीक है. सो जब हम डिजाइन बनाते हैं ना, ठीक है, सो ऑलवेज 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 ऑप्ट फॉर 1440. उसका रीजन ये है
Okay.
कि अगर आपने 1440 में बनाया है और अगर वो आप एक्सपांड करोगे तो भी वो उस ग्रिड में ही रहेगा विच इज 1200. ठीक है. सो
Okay.
अगर आपकी 1920 की जो डेस्कटॉप साइज है उसमें भी अगर आपको 1200 दिख रहा है इट इज फाइन. लेकिन इफ यू डिजाइन फॉर 1920, अगर आप 1600 की ग्रिड लेके बनाओगे तो आपको उसको छोटे में वापस डिजाइन करना पड़ेगा.
Okay.
हाँ. सो अगर क्लाइंट बोलता है, राइट, इफ द क्लाइंट इज वेरी गुड और वो आपको पे भी कर रहा है अच्छा खासा और द कंपनी से कि नहीं हमको बनाना ही है, then only in rarest case you design for 1920, you also design for laptop. So 1440 is a laptop size which is highly used.
Okay.
ठीक है. अगर आपको 1440 नहीं 1600 यूज करना है आप तो भी कर सकते हो, बट द कंटेनर साइज विल स्टिल रिमेन 1200.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the desktop size full HD and this is the laptop size. Laptop size can be 1600, 1440, 1366, 1280. ठीक है. अगर 1280 आपका साइज ले रहे हो आप तो 1140 is preferred. If you are taking 1600 or 1440, 1200 is preferred. Okay. So those are some fixed sizes that you have to take care.
Okay. And ये grid करने से what are we solving? The alignment of the text and the pictures.
नहीं वो भी मैं आता हूँ, उसको भी मैं आता हूँ, बट सो फार कैलकुलेशन वाइज समझ में आ गया.
हाँ.
ठीक है. Now let's look at the examples. Now if you keep this grid in your mind, है ना, and you now look at this layout. This section is divided into how many? This one section is divided into how many boxes? This is one box on the left with the text, and this is the other box. Correct? How do you define the size? That will help. Grid will help you that. This section here. Correct? It is divided into 3 boxes.
3.
So now the vertical ones we call it as columns, but the horizontal ones we call it as row. Okay. Every row should equal to 12 columns. Correct. Every row should equal to 12 columns. So now if I have this 3, correct. So if I have to divide 12 into 3 sections, my each box size would be how many columns? 12 3 सा 12 को डिवाइड करना है, राइट, हमको 3 से. सो एक बॉक्स का साइज होगा 4 कॉलम्स. हाँ,
4 columns.
correct. So that is where you need the grid. That is what you are solving using a grid. Random sizes लेने से better if you have the grid, you divide it equally. जैसे ये नीचे वाला section है, this is divided into 6 and 6. Same here also, 6 and 6, right? Here also. So this is how you do it. यहाँ पर अगर आप देखो, it is not exactly 6. It can be 5 and 7. So वो भी आप, right? Here again it is 4 4 4.
Hmm.
ये देखो clear distinction, right? So this is how you use the grid. So अभी इसमें हमको क्या करना है? Oh, sorry. Uh, हाँ, so इसमें हमको अब क्या करना है? We have to create this grid, ठीक है? एंड इसमें जितने पॉसिबल कॉम्बिनेशन हो सकते हैं, जैसे कि ये मैंने बनाया है एक सिंगल, फिर 12 डिवाइड बाई 4, 12 डिवाइड बाई 2, तो दो दो, फिर चार चार, करेक्ट? फिर इट कैन बी 5 and 7, इट कैन बी 9 and 3, वैसे। सो जितने भी डिस्टिंक्ट कॉम्बिनेशंस है उसके हमको ऐसे बॉक्सेस बनाने हैं, जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ द ग्रिड वर्क्स, ठीक है? सो अभी राइट नाउ ऑन द कॉल आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू गाइस टू फर्स्ट डिजाइन क्रिएट द ग्रिड इन फिग्मा, ठीक है, यूजिंग दिस लेआउट ग्रिड ऑप्शन, ठीक है? सो आई विल स्टॉप screen sharing and I would like you guys to do that and then share your screens जो भी आपने बनाया है. So create a blank document, create one artboard. अभी आप 1600 का आर्टबोर्ड लो एंड उस पर 1200 कंटेनर लेके यू हैव टू डिजाइन. Let me know once done. Yeah, Swati, please share your screen. Let's see.
Just a second. ये क्यों दिख रहा है? Can you see my screen?
I can see the login session has expired.
But that is not what's there on my screen.
I think you are only sharing one part of the screen.
The entire screen. Like now.
The screen black.
I'll just share my entire screen.
हाँ visible. ठीक है. Click on the desktop one.
Click on desktop one. Okay.
Open the grid, layout grid. Okay. हाँ fine. This is good. ठीक है. This is fine. इसी में अगर मान लो हमको full width website बनानी है. So let me. If you can open up one website, I'll tell you the name. Go to Chrome. Yeah, and open Gmail open कर लो चलो ना. You have the Gmail open. So if you see this, now it starts from the left, correct? And no space left on the left or the right. So now what happens is this is using the entire layout. So for that type of website, we use the stretched grid. So if you go back to your Figma, so here copy this.
Done. So
Meaning,
now if I should just go in the stretch.
correct. And now your this size is 1600, correct? And the grid system should be based on that. So now the width is auto. This is correct. This is fine.
Auto
So now
and the gutter still remains 30.
30, correct. So now this is fine. That your entire screen is divided into 12 columns with 30 gutter space. Now you will design looking at this grid for the stretch layout. Understood?
Okay.
So
Yes.
for full width websites, we use stretch, and for rest of the website, we use the center grid.
Well, okay. Now if we see the Gmail thing, they have got this corner on the right hand side. So if you're designing a full width thing, so that is also an option key right hand side or the left hand side can be divided separately and then the center is used.
मतलब see actual website में भी there will be at times possible कि आपको actual grid का size use करने ना मिले. At that time you can use something custom.
Okay.
लेकिन स्टिल आपको अगर आप वो स्पेसिंग देखोगे लेफ्ट में जो स्पेसिंग छोड़ी है उन्होंने प्राइमरी जो लिखा है जो चेक बॉक्सेस है ईमेल नहीं जो ईमेल्स है उसके बाद में जो चेक बॉक्सेस है स्टार चेक बॉक्सेस लेफ्ट
ओके
उसके बाजू की जो स्पेस है इवन दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रिड. वो जो गटर स्पेस हमने छोड़ा है ना वो लेफ्ट में भी इफ यू सी एक्सट्रीम लेफ्ट में एंड एक्सट्रीम राइट में देयर इज स्पेस सो ऑल दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ दैट गटर स्पेस ओनली. सो ग्रिड यूज करता है लेकिन ऑफ कोर्स फुल विड्थ में आप थोड़ा और लिबर्टी ले लेते हो टू इग्नोर द एक्चुअल ग्रिड्स. सो हो सकता है आप जो लेफ्ट वाला जो कॉलम है उसको 3 के जगह आप 2.5 भी ले लो वो कर सकते.
ओके
बट ओनली ओकेशनली नॉट ऑल द टाइम.
गॉट इट.
ठीक है.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I think आज के लिए this is it, right? We covered navigation, we covered the grid system. Now, what I would like you guys to do is design something using a grid. वेबसाइट बनाओ या मोबाइल ऐप बनाओ. मोबाइल ऐप का ग्रिड अभी हमने डिस्कस नहीं किया है. सो क्रिएट अ वेबसाइट डिजाइन डिजाइन यूजिंग द ग्रिड. ठीक है.
By design,
एक्चुअल यूआई डिजाइन.
so okay, fine. How the colors, the text, the font, what is it going to be the purpose and everything?
आप अपनी चॉइस का ले सकते हो. जैसे कि a website for you can design a website for interior company. Nitin, you can design a website for a school, you know. So आप उसके लिए you guys already working in that domain, individual domain, so you guys know कि वो क्या करता है, कैसे करता है. So it would be easy for you
Hmm.
guys to design.
Okay.
ठीक है. So look for
Hmm.
references, check करो क्या कर रहे हैं बाकी लोग. You guys have enough time. हम वापस हमारा जो ये है lecture, that is I guess on Tuesday. हाँ, Tuesday को है. So तब तक you guys have time, design a proper home page, references देखो बनाओ. But now since you know the technicalities of grid and everything, also color theory का lecture भी है, go through that. Font का भी I guess lecture है. If not then you can ignore that. जितना समझ में आता है उतना font के साथ खेलो, ठीक है. लेकिन at least follow the grid and create something. I'm not
And
expecting.
only the home page.
Yes, only नहीं, बाकी भी बनाना बना सकते हो if your time permits.
Okay.
ठीक है. ठीक है, done.
ठीक.
So that's it for today. We meet again on Tuesday, right?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.